Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well. Today we're taking a look at my Make 9 2024. Spoiler alert, didn't really do many of them. It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket. So the point of Make 9 is that you choose 9 fabrics or 9 patterns and it just helps you kickstart what you're doing. So in previous years, I chose, well, this is only the second time I've done it, I think. In 2023, I did patterns and I did like 4 of them, I think. And then last year, at the start of this year, I decided to do fabrics. So I chose 9 fabrics. Well, there was 9 fabrics except one I had in 2 colorways, and then I also had a bag of flowers, so it ended up being 11 things. Anyway, this is the first one. I'd already made the jacket, which I guess is cheating, but I decided to beat it like it was a vintage knit or an ugly sweater. I just think ugly sweater is a mean name, but that's the one that everyone knows. Anyway, I prefer vintage knits because I think they're gorgeous and I can't knit, but I do love tweed jackets. And this is a Marc Jacobs tweed, and I showed you the inside, which is what it used to be like. I only bought a yard of it from New York, and I am very good at pattern Tetris and getting an entire jacket out of 1 yard of fabric, but because this is so directional and I wanted it to pattern match across the whole thing, I managed to get most of it out, but the inside front panels had to be wrong way round, and the undersleeves are also a 90-degree turn. So it looks like everything is pattern matched except the underarms, and if you turn out the inside, the front as well. So yeah, and as I said, I already made the jacket, but it was the beading that I did, and there are thousands upon thousands of beads on this because they're tiny. And on the back, after I finished it, I did a triangle on there, and this one's green, but it's like a camouflage one. It's so cool. So well, you can't really see it. You sort of can in real life because it's I don't know. Anyway, and yeah, there are just so many beads on this. It took the longest time. I just did a little bit every now and again, and eventually I got it done. And I kept running out of beads too. That's why there's so many different patterns, but that's what why those vintage knits were the way they were. Like, women were just using up, like, if they had a little bit of red, a little bit of green left, and a little bit of magenta left, and a tiny bit of pink, but loads of oatmeal, then they would have come up with this design that uses up the exact amount of spare, like, leftovers that they had. Oh, and I just realized I had this sitting on my workbench. I was like, this may have been why I bought that multicolored check, because it reminded me of the vintage knit. So I'm making a jacket out of that cotton print, and I'm going to... when I bought it, I thought I would bead it along the lines and make it like a vintage knit or an ugly sweater, but I think I'll just put big pink beads on it. Anyway, so I finished the vintage knit jacket, beading it, but as I said, it literally took months, but I still haven't made the silk lining for it. So next we have, these are 3 more fabrics. These are the cotton ones. So this is a Liberty, and it's just this beautiful multicolored floral, and I love it. There's 2 yards of it, and I was originally going to make a dress out of it, just that standard dress that I always make. It's so simple and classic. I love it. And this fabric, I love the big full pink roses and the tulips, the parrot tulips. I like everything about it except the paler blue flowers. They're too, I don't know, everything else is so rich, and yeah, they just sort of seem more faded than everything else. So whatever I do, I'll use the big beads to cover up the pale blue bits. And then this one, I had 2 yards of the 2 Liberty ones, and I've got, I think, 1.5 yards of this cotton lawn here. And it just looks like a vintage wallpaper to me. And I thought they were black olives, but they're actually black rose hips. And again, I probably have enough to make a dress, a short salmon dress, but I thought I'd make a jacket instead because it just, I don't know, it's a weird combination, and I don't know, I think I might be able to use some green beads up on it and maybe some pink transparent glass ones as well. This one is absolutely gorgeous, another Liberty one, and it's a sort of rich hot pink magenta color plus musk, and there's sort of candy pink ones in there as well as some pale pink, but I've got some other brighter pink ones. So I think I'm going to make 2 jackets out of that one there and 2 jackets out of the other Liberty one, and only one from that middle fabric because there's less of it, as plus a handbag. And yeah, I'm going to bead them all in different ways. So the pink, I'll do one with pink beads and one with black sequins. Okay, next we have, as I said, I've got this particular Linton tweed in 2 colorways. We've got the flamingo, which is khaki or olive and flamingo pink, and then we've got the teal and coral one, which apparently looks blue and white to other people. Yeah, if you look, I'll show you up close, and you can see that it's got pale blue teal, well, it's got 2 teals, and it's got coral, and it's got a dark red, and it's also got the ribbon that's coral sort of goes to a dark red, then coral, then a sort of cream. So yeah, and I made it into a jacket, but I had to really rush it to get the video made. So the shoulders aren't good. I have to unpick them and do it again. Oh, and I had on the back, I had a map, and this is me showing you, this is footage from earlier on in the year when I actually made it. Oh, that's right. I made it around the same time I made the aqua dress. Oh, I love this layer cake dress so much. It's absolutely gorgeous. There's like a billion different fabrics in there. Well, not really, but quite a few different fabrics in there. Anyway, so on the back you can see that there used to be a map made out of all different size red beads. But I got a lot of the blue and white people just being really abusive. I mean, you know, I'm a woman. I get a lot of abuse 24/7 every single day, but yeah, it was just different than the usual. So I took it off, and I'm going to do a triangle on the back with I used about half the red keys on that, so I'm going to use the other half to do the triangle on the back. This one is, as you can see, it's sort of a flamingo color and olive, and I've got these copper like metal keys, they're pendants, jewelry pendants, but I took off the round bit at the top, so now they're just a key without any loop to put a necklace on. And I'm going to make that jacket up and either beat it with pink or use the copper keys. I've got another tweed that's brown, so I could use the copper keys on that, so I'm not sure. Anyway, because of the size of the piece of tweed that I had, after I made the jacket, I had a bit left over, so I'm also going to make a handbag with this. And I just love the colours in here. Probably maybe teal beads on that one, I think. Maybe on the handbag. So next we have, which ones? Oh, the ones I failed to use. This is the French tweed in its lemon, yellow, gold and white. It's just magnificent. And over the years, I keep changing my mind about what colour beads I'll use on it, because I've got these sort of glass cut beads that sort of look like the way you would cut gems, but they're made out of glass. So I've thought for a while I'd use all them, and then I've got some gorgeous lemon glass beads, but I think I'm back to liking it with pearls. So maybe like the scrambled egg Chanel. And that one is a Lesage style tweed that I also haven't made into a jacket. But apparently the point of Make 9 isn't to make everything, it's just to inspire you. So I'm not an abject failure. I just was inspired in many different ways. And getting these fabrics out does inspire me. Those two tweeds in particular are very, very beautiful. But if I use up all the most beautiful ones and then leave the ones that are still beautiful but not quite as beautiful, I'm just going to want to buy more. So I have to leave some of the really, really good tweeds as, like, you know, when I was a kid, during winter we had to eat porridge for breakfast, and my mum would put brown sugar just in the middle bit, so I would eat all the bit without sugar and then save the sugar bit for last. So that's what I'm doing with the tweeds, saving the best ones and doing all the other ones. But I mean, mind you, they're all tweeds that I like so much that I actually bought. Anyway, so let's talk about this one. So I had this bag of flowers and I was like, I've made, at that point, at the start of this year, I'd only made one jacket, the yellow one. And I was like, I love that one. I'm going to make another jacket. And I have made the apricot floral jacket, or as I call it, the strawberry jacket. It's got 40... I bought like kids necklaces that look like strawberries, and I stitched them into it. So I call it the strawberry jacket, but it's got apricot flowers on it. And then I had this bag of flowers and I turned it into a jacket, but I don't like the scoop neck and I don't like how big the flowers are on the front because I'm such a tinsy-wincy person. Like, my frame is so small that just average size flowers look like they take up a quarter of the jacket. So yeah, those 4 big ones, I'm going to take it all apart and redo it and just use the big ones on the back and use the medium and the small ones on the front and the main part of the sleeves. I think you can get away with large ones on the cuffs. Oh, and then I attempted to make this one, which I absolutely hated when I first made it, but I just got it out and I don't hate it as much now. I think it's the yellow that grates on me. I think if I carefully cut out the yellow flowers and the yellow leaves and just put them on the back and just have orange and I've got some really dark red ones as well, and if I make it orange and browns and dark reds, then I might like it more. But I also thought, well, maybe I could just take off, because all the flowers are just pinned on, so if I took them off it would be just foliage again, and I could just double the amount of foliage and not have any flowers on it at all, and I would probably like that more because it looked really nice when it was just foliage. So I'm not sure. I got to the point where I just hate working on structured jackets, like a jacket that's been made and then beading into it. It's just, it's so difficult doing the sleeves, and like it strengthens the jacket to add all those layers and layers of thread and beads. But oh my gosh, so now I'm just been on the recent jackets that I'm working on, I half make the jacket, do all the embellishment, and then hand stitch up the sides and the undersleeve. So yeah, it's just a lot less frustrating and it's faster to make. It is a bit weaker, but I mean, it's a trade-off. It's just so much easier. So next we have I failed to complete another, because I still haven't put the lining in the apricot jacket, because I mean, it is slightly impractical, but it was super fun to make. Anyway, next up we have, I think this is the last one, we've got the khaki jacket. So I bought this is a Linton tweed, and I bought this a while ago during the pandemic. I think it was one of the last tweeds I bought. And yeah, it's just beautiful. I bought it because it reminded me of the 2009 Chanel art collection. There's one tweed jacket in particular that reminded me of this tweed, and I was like, I'll buy it and I'll put black beading on it beaded trim on it, but then of course I'm doing embellished jackets now. And then the first time I beaded this, I put sort of a mix of khaki and clear glass beads on it, and I didn't like it, so I took it off. And then I decided to do a jacket about this, we'll call him a novelist. And yeah, so I was going to do like a fish hook on the back, because his name, if you translate it into English, is fisherman or man who crafts fish hooks. And I was like, oh, that is so perfect. So I was going to do a big fish hook on the back. But then I just started working on the rest, and so that's why it's got a weird shape. And then I was like, oh, I might do a topographical map on the back. And then I was like, no, that won't work out because of a body of water at the edges, and it would have been really confusing, and it wouldn't have worked. And then I went back to do a triangle, and then I was like, no, I want to do the fish hook again. Anyway, so I was just like, it kept going around and around with the idea of what I would do on the back. And in the meantime, he passed away. So now I'm like, So I'm just going to do a triangle on the back, I think, of this one. And last time I showed you it, only the half of the front was done. So today I did the other half of the front. So there's still a whole sleeve to go, part of the undersleeve of the other side and some of the back. So I'm going to do all of the back, then overlay a triangle as well. So yeah, it's going to take a while still, but I'm chipping away at this one. And I think this one will be done by the end of the year. Well, the outer jacket. And yeah, so it's just going to have, well, the triangle would be bigger than that, but yeah. So that's it. Oh, there was also the tartan. I haven't done that one either. And when you do a review of your make nines for the year, you're supposed to reflect on whether it was good that you had them, and whether it was good to set the goals, and whether they helped you achieve things during the year. Definitely, because this one turned out so beautifully. Like, I did so many other jackets, like there's the denim blue Italian tweed with the bright green triangle on the back is kind of looks like an ugly sweater or a vintage. And the Tempest jacket, I was going to do a completely different type of beading for that one, and I did, but it didn't work out. So I ended up doing this beading, and oh my gosh, I love this jacket so much. But if the vintage knit jacket hadn't worked out, then yeah, the Tempest jacket wouldn't exist the way that it does. So yeah, it did impact the way that I do things. I think one of the really good things about the Make 9 challenge is that they stress at the start that you shouldn't, you don't have to finish them. It's just to inspire you. It's not to make you feel like an abject failure or anything. And I really like that. So it was good having them, and I did get them out every now and again, or rewatch the Make 9 Plans video. And I was like, oh yeah, I must get onto that one. And when I was going to find the tweed that I was going to work on, I would get distracted by something else that was in the same storage box as it. So the act of just going and revisiting did inspire, whether it was directly or incidentally. So, and yeah, and sewing those keys on, oh my gosh, because you can't, normally if you, like when you do a flower jacket, you can pin each flower on, but with the keys, I had to hold them in place. So that was technically a very, very challenging one. But with that keys jacket, I have to redo the shoulders, which reminded me, I have this looks very similar to my Paris jacket. I have this Chanel tweed, and I made this jacket ages ago, and one of the sleeves, the shoulder is perfect, but the other one, I have to carefully undo it and like unpick the seam and redo it because it's not perfect. So it's such a pretty tweed. In January, I was going to have a month where I do UFOs, but I might just have a mock-up month in January, because if I just do loads of mock-ups all at once at the start of the year and get them out of the way, then I can say I've done stuff, and I can just get it all out of the way. So maybe I'll do that. And this one, yeah, when I pull all these off and put them on another jacket, I think I'm going to make a Berta 6123, because that's a jacket that you can lay flat, like half make, and then lay it flat on the bench, and then I can just pin the flowers on and stitch them on with relative ease. Because trying to stitch them on to an actual fully made jacket is, it's just an exercise in frustration. So yeah, and this jacket, I love this jacket. I think I've been calling it the cactus jacket, but the tiny little sequins are actually strawberries. So I didn't really get anything finished, not completely, but I did get a lot done, and it did force me to use much more advanced techniques than I had previously done. So that was good. And some of the color combinations I used are great. They're just, yeah, like the musk pink beads on this. It didn't have that color in it at all. It was this magenta, and as well as Kelly green and the oatmeal color. And I think adding the pink to this is just awesome. So yeah, I'm really happy with what I end up producing and achieving technique-wise. So if you're on the fence about whether you should have a Make 9 for 2025, I would say definitely go ahead. I'm doing it again next year. But also just remember that you don't have to complete everything. They're there to inspire you. And if they inspire you to make a finished garment, that's awesome. But I mean, I already have loads of jackets. I don't have to rush to finish anything new. As a viewer, I guess it's probably been frustrating that I've stopped caring about having finished. Oh, these purple ones really annoy me. I like just the wine colours, so when I redo it, I won't put the purple in there. It's not that I don't care about viewers, but it's just that you get so much abuse regardless of what you do or don't do. So they don't matter. They're just a waste of oxygen. So I've just decided to make videos of where I'm at. And because I think with other channels that I watch, I appreciate when they don't get things made or they say what went wrong. And it's good to have a more realistic idea of what you go through when you make something, and what happens when it doesn't work, and how you problem solve around that. So I don't know. I think the journey's interesting more than like a slick start to finish. And I think for next year, I'll probably pick 3 tweeds, 3 unusual fabrics, and 3 florals. And I'll make jackets out of all of them at some point during 2025. And that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you've been inspired to do Make 9 for next year. It was fun in its own way. Thanks again for watching, and happy sewing.